Yeah, so tonight we are standing at Valley and Meridian, and this is where police say the initial contact happened. Now, I reached out to Puyallup Police several times today and did not hear back. We still have so many questions, like what caused the officer to open fire, and how did a welfare check end up becoming a fatal shooting?
I heard about 3 to 4 rounds been fired.
Bernard Robinson was at Hometown Studios in Puyallup on North Meridian when he heard the commotion late Friday night.
I was standing outside on my balcony and I heard it, so I heard everything clear. The only thing I heard was gunfire.
According to Robinson, the shooting happened right beside the McKesson distribution site.
I just seen a bunch of officers going over there. There was already one unit over there, and then next thing you know, a lot of other cars came afterwards.
Police say an officer shot and killed a man just before 11 p.m. Dispatch got multiple calls about a man in the middle of the road. He appeared to jump on a car and then tried to get into another car, according to police.
It's just crazy times and crazy things are happening.
Officers responded and, according to police, contacted the man. Police say a short while later, an officer shot the man. The man died on scene.
A couple of shots.
Ken Farthing heard the shots ring out.
It's becoming more and more commonplace to hear it. Pierce County isn't what it used to be. We see a lot of transients. We see a lot of the homeless down here being pushed out of the downtown area into the outskirts. And it's not unusual to have people in traffic. We see it often. I'm just concerned for our community.
And tonight, we do not know the identity of the man killed, and we don't know anything about the officer involved. What we do know is that Pierce County Force Investigation Team is investigating the incident. Live in Puyallup, Suzanne Fawn, KOMO News.
The state's largest school district says this assessment is one of many to come that will help them figure out their strategy to help students in the coming year. Julie Dennis remembers the challenges her now 2nd and 4th grade boys had with remote learning in the Shoreline School District last year.
It doesn't feel like a full year that they're behind, but I mean, I would say probably a few months behind at least.
Her family isn't alone. New data from the so-called Smarter Balanced Assessment states less than half of Seattle students last year met or exceeded state standards in math, and it was less than 60% in English language arts and reading.
We weren't that surprised. There was a lot of impacts from the pandemic.
That's a drop of nearly 20% in math and 10% in ELA standards when compared to the most recent data we could find from the 2018-2019 school year.
It is a first look for what we need to be doing for this year. So it's a great time for us to say, okay, what's really happening? Are our strategies right on target?
State Superintendent Chris Rakedahl claims students are not failing, arguing this assessment doesn't paint the whole picture of student growth in a year.
What we have to do is reinforce supports for them, get more of that mental health, school psychologists, nurses, social workers.
The state's largest school district agrees, which is why it will be performing even more assessments to gauge the academic and emotional needs of individual students, schools, and the district as a whole.
Each student and family get their own individual assessment. And so the individual family and the student get to work with their teachers.
It's a plan Rakedahl says will take time to see results.
No one should expect that there's some magic tutoring or magic intervention that just suddenly changes things. This is a process.
It is our first look at the man accused of starting a confrontation with his neighbor that ended with 2 sheriff's deputies in the hospital. Prosecutors say Joel Young had been drinking when smoke drifted into his home from a debris pile fire next door. Newly released court records state he exchanged words with his neighbor, grabbed a shotgun and loaded it with birdshot, fired around into the air, then went back into his house and had a beer.
It's a wild, wild west up here, and a lot of people moving in don't understand that. Yeah. People pull guns awful easy, awful quick.
Prosecutors say Young later shot 2 deputies in their heads after they arrived to try to defuse the situation. A neighbor then fired several shots at Young in hopes of protecting the deputies that had just been hit. They were pulled into this garage and treated until backup arrived.
There is no amount of thanks that can be expressed for his bravery in doing that.
Young later surrendered. Investigators were back at the 2 homes today collecting more evidence.
2 counts of attempted first-degree murder.
In court, prosecutors revealed the 2 deputies, Jay Thompson and Ryan Rathman, could lose their sight and one of them might lose an eye. Given the number of shots that were fired here, Fellow officers are relieved they're still here.
It's unbelievable that our deputies are able to survive this, given where Mr. Young was clearly aiming with his weapon.
Brandon Booker wouldn't wish this feeling for anyone.
No one deserves to endure this kind of pain. Nobody expected this. This is just, it's horrible.
Because for almost a week now, he and his family have been grieving over the loss of his sister Cassandra. Cassandra, or Cassie, was found in the stairwell of the 22 North building in Bellingham on February 8th with a gunshot wound to her body. She wasn't breathing.
I didn't believe it at first, and I guess I was kind of in denial.
But the horrible truth had sunken in that his sister was killed just 3 days before she was able to get into the Agape home for women and children in Bellingham.
She was really trying to get her life together.
Booker says Cassie was homeless at the time, but thought things were on the upswing. Now, Bellingham police are searching for her killer. The department posted this picture of the person they believe's responsible, 33-year-old Shiloh Englert. Right now, no one has been arrested, but the search for Englert continues.
It's a lot of anger involved. It makes me want to go to Bellingham and look for him myself, you know?
Instead, Booker says he'll let the investigation play out while he and his family mourn the life of their loved one.
She was just a sweetheart, just a very outgoing, very beautiful, and just a great soul. Well, the best thing I can do is just kick back, be patient, and hopefully they get this guy off the streets as soon as possible.
In Bellingham, Nick Popham, KOMO News.
Hi, everyone. I'm Preston Phillips from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.